Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Blockchain and Beyond. As always, I'm your host Razan. On today's episode, we'll be discussing the Securitize platform. And like always, I'll go over the background of the project, the team behind it, what they do, how they're aiming to do it, and then I'll round up with my own little opinion on the project. So Securitize is a platform which describes their mission as reducing friction and creating liquidity in the private sector. They envision using blockchain technology as a way to provide automation and liquidity for limited partners, an asset class which they consider illiquid. As a wider goal, they aim to modernize the $82 trillion corporate debt market. Traditionally, these corporate bonds vary in maturity, yield, and even rulings, even if they are issued by the same entity. This variance creates a very narrow market for each bond, and each transaction must be facilitated by an intermediary. This is all further impacted by the time to settlement, which can be up to a few days, meaning if you buy a security today, it may not officially be yours for a number of days. And we'll discuss some of their offerings and regulatory situations a bit later on. So, the platform was co-founded by Carlos Domingo and Jamie Finn. So, Carlos was the founder of Spice VC, which is a venture capital platform where holdings were digitized using the blockchain. At the time of writing, Spice VC are in the process of closing their second fund. And prior to Spice VC, Carlos operated as a business development and innovation officer at a number of different companies. Jamie has a background as both an operating entrepreneur and corporate executive with over 20 years experience. Prior to Securitize, Jamie worked at Telefonica, O2, Ericsson, and AT&T in big data product innovation, as well as startups including Conterra and Zingy. Securitize also has a number of corporate investors such as Morgan Stanley, Sony Financial Ventures, Coinbase Ventures, Ripple, and Borderless Capital. It's important to note that here they have a wide variety of investors. So they have some traditional investors such as Morgan Stanley and Sony Financial Ventures, but also more newer investors which focus on blockchain technology such as Coinbase Ventures, Borderless Capital, and also Ripple, who are the founders of the XRP cryptocurrency. If anything, it goes to show that the work Securitize are doing is of interest to both newer and traditional entities, which, can give you a bit of a hint into where the future may lie. So that gives us a bit of a background into the company and who's supporting them and who's working with them. And now it's probably right to discuss how they actually work. So first I'll discuss some of their offerings, and then I'll also discuss how blockchain plays into all of this a bit later on. So in 2009, Securitize became the only SEC registered transfer agent that operates on the blockchain. This means that they're allowed to maintain records of security owners. It also means that they can help facilitate the exchange of securities from one entity to another. This is quite an important thing to note, as it will enable many entities to invest in their products with much higher confidence than unregulated security providers. And for those of us who may be unaware, the SEC is the Security and Exchange Commission, and the main mission of the SEC is to protect investors, maintain fair and orderly markets, and also facilitate capital formation. This basically breaks down into two main notions. So the first being that companies which offer securities for sale to the public must tell the truth about their business, the securities they are selling, and the risks involved in investing with those securities. And those who sell and trade securities, such as brokers, dealers, and exchanges, must treat investors fairly and honestly. So the SEC is just here to help regulate and mediate some of the financial markets. Now we can discuss some of Securitize's offerings. So their current offerings cater towards institutes and high net worth clients, which would like exposure to cryptocurrency assets. Their minimum investment value is $50,000 US. One of the first products they offer is a USDC yield fund. The USDC is a cryptocurrency which value is pegged to the US dollar, and it is the main medium of exchange within the cryptocurrency space. Here, they offer an approximate 9.67% APY performance with a 0.5% management fee. The yield for this fund is generated through collateralized loans to other high credit quality institutions who have also gone sufficient due diligence. And these returns are in line with those of other decentralized lending protocols within the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Here we notice they offer a 9.67 APY performance, which is quite high compared to some other traditional investments. And part of the reason for this is the USDC coin is one of the most liquid markets in the crypto space, and it is the main median of exchange between different cryptocurrencies, and it is the most commonly accepted dollar equivalent. We can also look at some of the decentralized platforms which offer USDC lending. So for example, Aave, the current yield of depositing your USDC is approximately 1.82%. And this is quite similar across some other platforms such as Tectonic Finance, which currently offers a 2.27% for depositing your USDC, and also AlgoFi, which currently offer a 3% interest rate when depositing your USDC. And these percentages are all variable, so they will change as the market demands more or less USDC over time. And all of these interest rates are calculated through a fixed formula, so you can potentially make some estimations of how much you would be able to earn. The second product that Securitize offer is a Bitcoin yield fund. So Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency in terms of market capitalization, and this fund not only offers a 2.42% APY performance, which again is generated through collateralized loans, but what's not measured here is the dollar denominated returns, which can be attributed to the appreciation of the asset. Although the value of the fund can decrease when the price is down, there is some downside protection through the returns generated through the lending of BTC. From their website, over a 5-year time horizon, their fund would have outperformed a spot Bitcoin fund by 22%. And I'm not entirely sure how they function, but there's also scope for Securitize to perhaps lend out BTC through these decentralized lending platforms by wrapping their Bitcoin onto other networks such as Ethereum, Kronos, or Matic, and lending this out to generate some additional yields. However, there are some more risks associated with that, so perhaps they would like to stay with their current methodology. And their third product is the same as the Bitcoin yield fund, but has Ethereum as the underlying asset, and they follow the same methodology to return yields to their clients. Their fourth product is actually a fund which presents a broad exposure to crypto assets with a sufficiently high market cap. So for a crypto asset to be eligible for inclusion in this fund, they need to have traded over a 3-month period on a centralized exchange, have a market cap of over $10 million, and have a 3-month median volume of $100,000. So this fund is also provided by S&P Dow Jones Indices, which is a common name when dealing with financial instruments. This actually offers a unique way for institutional investors to actually gain exposure to cryptocurrency assets without actually having to hold or manage the assets themselves, which is where I think this product could actually really shine. And the final product that they currently offer more aligns to traditional investments. It is a new Economies Fund, and it invests in constituents of the S&P Kensho New Economic Index, which houses over 490 equities, and it uses AI and quantitative weighting to allocate their capital. The fund also targets companies which focus on AI, hyperconnectivity, and robotics and automation, which are again all quite hot topics in tech at the moment. And that covers most of their offerings. So now we can discuss a bit about the blockchain aspect. So I'm going to make some assumptions about their processes, as obviously I wouldn't know how they work. But from an investor's point of view, upon the release of secondary markets, they will be able to trade holdings within these funds through a platform which benefits from the always available nature of blockchain. Here, a smart contract will act as a mediator to connect the buyers and sellers of the security to one another. These trades will be logged in the blockchain and will potentially be available for others to monitor and observe. For Securitize, they will be able to disclose their holding accounts to their auditors, who can then use the immutable nature of the blockchain to verify any holdings that they claim to have. As the blockchain may be publicly accessible, the auditors are no longer restricted by Securitize providing the proper information, and can instead carry out the audits at any time and in real time. And that covers the key areas that I wanted to discuss. So I'll probably give my own bit of a roundup now. So I think it's a really innovative platform and they have a lot of room to grow. So as mentioned before, they're trying to modernize the $82 trillion corporate debt market, which is a market which is constantly increasing as well. So this market doesn't have signs of slowing down, and so there's a lot of capacity for them to really evolve and grow, and they can be seen as a leader in this industry. On the other hand, I think it would be great to see them eventually open up to smaller investment values, but this may require a lot more work to be done behind the scenes in terms of due diligence and investor protection, as institutional investors or high net worth investors will typically have a lot more measures in place to help protect their capital. And yeah, those are really the two main takeaways from me. And yeah, that covers everything I wanted to discuss today. As always, it's been a pleasure to discuss another product which is using blockchain at its forefront to develop something which can change our world much for the better. And yeah, as always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media platforms. It will be good to hear from you. But until next time, yeah, goodbye.